convention. Joining us now, Sean Spicer, Chief Strategist, Communications Director for the RNC. Brother Spicer, good to have you on this morning.
Good morning.
So,
thank you. Good morning. Happy opening day.
That's right.
Sox.
The Yankees,
Berman's
the most
excited,
storied franchise in baseball history, does take the field today. Thank you for recognizing their greatness. Stop shaking your head, Spicer.
That's just wrong.
All right, so check some boxes for us. We hear that the Trump campaign said to the RNC, you got to push Kasich out. He's hurting me. It's time for him to go. He can't win. He doesn't meet the 40B rule. Get him out. Is that true? And if so, what is the party's response?
Well, I'm not going to get into the details of a private conversation between the chairman and any of the candidates, but I will say that the RNC has never and will never tell any candidate to get in or out of the race. That's always going to be a decision up to them and to their team, depending on the level of support and resources they have to continue.
40B, 40B, 40B. You keep hearing it. This is something that the Rules Committee can or cannot extend into the next convention. What's your take?
Well, I think there's a lot of conversation about 40B, but if you keep going down the list, you get to 42, which 42 says all of the rules of this convention are for this convention and are temporary. When the Rules Committee of this convention, of these delegates that are elected, sit down, they will craft the rules for this convention. The 2012 delegates that were largely made up of Mitt Romney crafted the delegates for that. The McCain delegates in 2008 crafted a rules package for that. And so the delegates of this, which are largely going to be Cruz and Trump delegates, will sit down, elect members to be on the Rules Committee, and then craft rules for this convention as it's always been since the 1800s.
All right, you know what the pushback is. Ron Paul is celebrating, running around saying the chickens are coming home to roost to the GOP, that this was what the party wanted to keep him out, and now that it may work against someone that the party wants to keep in, John Kasich, they want to remove this rule, which essentially says you need to have a certain number of delegates in a certain selection of 8 states, and Kasich won't meet that rule, so he should be exempted from the convention. And now Ron Paul and others are saying the convention committee, the GOP, they want Kasich in, so they're going to change the rules in favor. Is that fair criticism?
No, it's not, because there's 2 issues at stake here. One is that no matter how you slice it, you need 1,237 delegates to become the nominee of this party. Plain and simple, no exceptions. Whoever gets the majority of the delegates wins. The second thing, the party doesn't want anything. The party's job is to administer a fair and transparent process. These delegates have been elected at the grassroots level throughout the country in states and congressional districts. It is their job to go in on behalf of the candidates that were selected by them and argue for what they want as a rules package and ultimately come out with a nominee of our party. But it is those people, those delegates that have been elected by Republican voters that will decide. The party is simply the arbiter, the people that have put on the show to ensure that these delegates have a system to vote.
2 is it trues for you. Is it true that the conversations between Reince Priebus and the Trump campaign, Donald Trump specifically, were left with an understanding that he will support the GOP nominee coming out of the convention?
I think Mr. Trump clearly talked about the fact that we need to be unified as a party and go out and win. He understands, like all the candidates, that only a unified Republican Party is going to defeat the Democrats. So, again, as I said earlier, I'm not going to get into the discussion, but I think every one of these candidates understands that anything less than a unified Republican Party would give the Democrats a huge hand up going into November.
Is it true that party officials are planning extensively for a contested convention and that is certainly the momentum of the party right now?
Well, as we get closer and through some of these more contests, today is Wisconsin, we've got 42 delegates, and you got 95 up in New York. As we go through them, and it's clear that someone may not get to 1237, of course, we're going to continue to take additional steps to prepare for this open convention. Look, I think I said it to you before, Chris. We're a party that's had 2 hurricanes the last 2 conventions. We prepare for everything. We're going to ensure that we're ready for this and that it's an open, fair, and transparent process so that if we go into this open convention, that all of the intensity and enthusiasm that we've seen in our party is going to be there for the world to watch and that we come out as a party ready to win.
Well, to extend your metaphor, there are certainly clouds gathering over the site of where the convention will be. This will certainly be a very watched convention process. We all know that. Sean Spicer, thank you very much for coming on New Day to make the case for us this morning.
You bet. Go Sox.
Nicely done.
Well played. He did that at the
Sean
very
Spicer
end. Well played, Mr. Spicer.
Grabbing defeat from the jaws of victory after that interview, right?
I might have to start
Going
doing
for the
that.
sauce.
That was a strong move. That was a strong move.
Look at John
Not our
Berman's
hat.